The Nets are awesome. Like, some folks were picking this team to win it all. Some folks were saying not only will they win it all, but they're going to go down as one of the all-time greats. Instead, here they are on the verge of getting swept in the first round. Not just swept, but humiliated, clowned, mocked, laughed at. They're down 3-0, and people really were saying they could win it all. They're down 3-0, and people were talking about them winning 70 games when the season started. People were saying they could be right up there with the great Warrior and Bulls teams. Hell, they might be done before the Pelicans. Not only will they not be hanging a banner in Brooklyn, there were actually "Let's Go Celtics" chants in Brooklyn. "Let's Go Celtics" chants in Brooklyn. And while credit does go to Boston for locking the Nets the hell up defensively, why don't we go ahead and spread the blame around? Why don't we share some blame amongst Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving for how they've handled this, which is to say, terribly. Durant has vanished. An absolute no-show for the alleged best player in the world. Let's look at Kevin Durant. Game 1, bad. Game 2, worse. Game 3, nothing. He took fewer shots than Bruce Brown in a must-win game. So it's not just that the Celtics defense has made life hard for Durant. They have erased him completely. They have made the alleged best player in the world disappear. Now you see him, now you don't. But if you're looking for him, he's probably on one of his burner accounts, thumbing out something worthless to somebody he doesn't even know and never will meet. Again, we're freaking talking about Kevin Durant here, an all-time great. One of the guys who is going to bring everything he learned from Golden State's culture and help build a winner in Brooklyn. So exactly where the hell is the alleged best player on the planet when his team needs him most? And where's the guy who thinks he's even better than the alleged greatest player on the planet? Because Kyrie has not been much better. The only consistent thing from Kyrie in this series is Kyrie's insistence that none of this is his fault. I wish I had a better way to put this than to say this. Rich as hell. This guy's talking about how they have not had enough time to gel. Rich as hell. In other words, excuse me, we are all trying to figure out who did this. Thank you, Alvin. We're all trying to figure out who did this. Says the guy who did this. Can I repeat that? We are all trying to figure out who did this, says the guy who did this. If only there would have been more ways for the team to gel during the season, says the guy who quit on his team during the season. That's the question you have to ask right now. Are KD and Kyrie quitting on this team? Are they in Operation Shutdown right now? Or is this actually them trying their hardest? Because either way, it's bad. Either way, it's the worst. I'm going to digress for 1 second. A guy who took himself out of half of their games this season is saying they didn't have enough time to gel as a team. Rich as hell. Richer than Bill Gates. Richer than Warren Buffett. Richer than Elon Musk. The richest thing ever. We just didn't have enough time. We didn't have enough time together, says the guy who took himself out of half the games. For guys who allegedly learned how to win on other teams, they certainly have not brought any of that knowledge and culture to this train wreck, because the Nets have no culture. There's no backbone. There's no spine. There's no grit. There's no heart. And if they do actually have any of that, they're not showing it. And if they're not showing it, the hell are they saving it for? They do know the playoffs have started, right? Yeah, but don't worry. Don't worry. Ben Simmons is coming to save the day. Ben Simmons is coming for Game 4. The ultimate winner and grinder is going to be there to bail them out, right? Wrong. Turns out Ben is not coming back. Not tonight. Somewhere between the Nets losing at home in Game 3 and facing an elimination game tonight, Simmons began to have back pain once again. Woj had reported yesterday, quote, that after approximately 10 days of pain-free ramp-up, following recovery from a herniated disc, Simmons' admission at the team practice facility was met with surprise and disappointment. End of quote. And Jim Rome is reporting right now that I am surprised and disappointed that the Nets are surprised and disappointed. Better yet, when asked for a reaction to the Nets' reaction that Simmons won't go tonight, Jim Rome said, and I quote, "Get the hell out of here with that. Get the hell out of here with that." And then I couldn't stop laughing. They're surprised and disappointed that Ben Simmons is not going tonight. Now that's funny. You do know who you're dealing with, right? You were banking on Ben Simmons saving your season. That guy. What have you ever seen from him that would make you think that he's seriously intended on going tonight? What, you thought this guy was going to go Willis Reed tonight? Look, I never want to be the guy who has an extremely high tolerance for somebody else's pain. And I also hate to be that guy who questions anybody else's heart or desire to get in the fight or rejoin the fight. But is there anybody anywhere not affiliated with the Nets who is surprised by anything that Ben Simmons does or doesn't do at this point? Does this really look like a guy who will do and has done everything in his power to be there for his teammates and the organization? Or maybe is that dude doing just the opposite of that? As little as possible to be there for anybody other than himself and his banker. Again, I've got no idea. No idea what he's dealing with mentally and physically, but I do know this. My man looked pretty damn comfortable just sitting there. And his teammates look pretty damn uncomfortable with him just sitting there. Joel Embiid, as an example, is out there playing with a thumb that is barely still attached to his hand. We already know he's going to need surgery as soon as the season's over. But the big fella's out there giving it everything he has. And he clearly isn't right. But he's trying. He's giving it everything he has. Abandoning the fight is not an option for Joe. But apparently joining the fight is not an option for Ben. Again, has this dude ever thrown off the vibe that he's willing to do anything and everything to get back on the court? Ever? Unfortunately, no, which is too bad. And not for the 76ers or the Nets, but because I was really hoping to see him tonight. Not so we can have an actual series, because we know that's not going to happen, but because I wanted Simmons to have the ultimate stat line. 0 regular season games, 1 playoff game, and done. Now that's a hell of a season right there. Even better, he would have a stat line that read losing in back-to-back elimination games. That's not easy. You imagine that? Back-to-back games, back-to-back elimination games. Now that's a stat. And he's cheating us of that. Never mind his teammates. Never mind his fans. Never mind Adam Silver. Oh, why don't we talk about me for a minute? I wanted to see that stat line. A guy who went back-to-back elimination games. But if the Nets truly believed that he was coming to save or even extend their season tonight, man, they're even more dysfunctional than I thought they were. Tell you what, with or without Simmons, the Nets better man the hell up for their own self-respect and find a way to win tonight. I mean, I'm not even talking about winning that series because that's not going to happen. But have some self-respect. Like, I don't have a lot of faith that it's going to happen because they don't have much heart, but they have some, right? They have to at least have enough heart to prevent getting swept in the first round when they were the favorites to win the whole thing entering the season. And folks were talking about them going down as one of the greatest teams ever. But you make no mistake about this, and I did tell you I'd need some time at the top of the show for it. Make no mistake about this. Classic sweep or gentleman sweep, it is a total catastrophe, a total disaster. You want to know how bad it is? It's even worse than the Lakers this year. And the Lakers had their worst year ever. As horrible as LA was, and they were horrible, they actually dealt with some actual injuries. This bleep show that is the Nets is entirely self-imposed by the Nets. No one did anything to these guys. They did it to themselves. And even worse, they don't even know it. So if you've got any pride or any heart, you will find a way to win tonight, to give Ben Simmons one more chance to raise your hopes, only to stab you in the back because his back still hurts, and then you can all act surprised all over again. Because the Celtics are everything that the Nets aren't. They've got heart, grit, toughness, pride. They D the hell up. And that's, by the way, cover nobody ever. And the Nets don't have any of that, and they never will. If there is a positive, however, and you know me, I am the ultimate glasses half full guy. I look for the positive in everything. Can't you tell from this opening take? I'm about that life. If there's a positive, and you do have to dig pretty hard to find a silver lining in the Nets, it is that Kyrie, KD, and Simmons took up so much of my opening segment, I've got no time left for Steve Nash. And let's not act like Nash isn't to blame as well. Like, I am so exhausted assessing the Nets' big three that saying nothing about Nash's coaching is actually a positive. For him, for life, for life. Jungle Tourette's, even I have it. For life. For life. For life. For life. So, yo, Steve. There you got that creepy laugh. Hey, Steve, congrats. Congrats on dodging that scud, that daisy cutter. Just know that you are not without blame because you're not helping them. You're hurting them, man. And you shouldn't be just standing there not making the necessary adjustments, man.
And he shouldn't be talking about it on the radio, man.
And you shouldn't be standing there on TV not making any adjustments and helping a man. I'm telling you, I've used that phrase before in describing Kyrie. Damn, that's rich. What's richer? What is richer than Kyrie saying we haven't had the time to gel when he took himself off the team for half their games? And doesn't even know how rich that is. He doesn't even see the richness in a comment like that. Incredible.